Wow, can you believe it? Episode 34. Yeah. Well, let me bring the microphone over here so you all can hear me very well so we can stretch our eardrums. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world, you know it is JJ and JJ's PC Builds. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. What I mean by 4,000 watch hours, watch the videos from beginning to end, would be much appreciated, would help us get monetized and grow and everything else. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, thank you for the love and support. Y'all are awesome. Just to let you know. Okay. Now, this is the time you all been waiting for. It's time for graphics card nightmares right here on JJ's PC Builds. So, just to tell you, the graphics card industry has really been going through a loop. You know, they're talking about an RX 7800, you know, I don't know if it's an XT or what kind of version it is. They're talking about one there that is supposed to revolutionize the world. If it's going to be the 7800 or a 7900, who knows? So we're up in the air about what AMD wants to do. We know coming soon on the 29th, NVIDIA's got a graphics card coming out. It's the 4060, which it looks like a disaster. It has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And then in July, NVIDIA is supposed to have the 16 gigabyte 4060 Ti, unless that gets canceled. Who knows? So we don't know what's going to be happening on the storm front, but I can tell you that some prices have been dropping, some have not, some been increasing. So don't be surprised when you see the prices this week on Graphics Card Nightmares, because you know what? When it comes down to it, if the graphics card can't be under a certain amount of dollars, it is a nightmare, especially for the first-time builders and the ones that are trying to get ahead. Let's say you bought a system from Walmart and you're trying to get ahead, and guess what? You don't know what graphic card to pick. Well, there's many to choose from, but we can go through today to let you know, and make sure y'all stick around to the end to see where my conclusion's going with this. But this is the thing. If you bought a new system from Walmart and it has integrated graphics, and let's say you want to upgrade it to put a discrete graphics card in there, well, it all depends. It all depends on your power supply. It all depends on the motherboard support. You know, the PCIe version, if it's going to be 3.0 x16 or if it's going to be 4.0 x16 in the PCIe version. Or if it's got the 1x, the 4x, or the 16x slot. You know, many things. When you buy a pre-built system, OEM system from like Walmart, Best Buy, or whatever, do expect a little bit of complications, but in a long front, if it's DDR4 or greater, if it's a DDR4 system or a DDR5 system, you know, you could probably do something with it. Now, as far as the processor and everything else, basically it comes down to what the motherboard supports on your processor, your RAM, and everything else. Now, if you get, usually with OEM systems, they don't really have systems that, you know, support, the motherboards don't support over 64 gigs of RAM, just for say. Okay, now last time I bought something from Walmart on a pre-built system, that would not exceed 16 gigabytes of RAM for the motherboard. So just to say you don't want to buy a system from Walmart that's not going to have a motherboard that's going to support only 16 gigabytes of RAM. So you want a motherboard that will support at least 128 gigabytes of RAM. So that's the whole idea of building your system separate from buying an OEM system. Only difference with an OEM system and the system you build is the operating system. Okay, so if you want to get and build your computer, Windows 10 does not require you to have a product key. But you can get a decent, cheap product key. Just gotta look around for one. You know, best to have if you're going to go to Windows 11, have at least a Intel 8 Gen or greater for the processor, or Zen 3 and AM4 5000 series processor or greater to go to Windows 11, because of the securities and everything else that you need to move it forward to Windows 11. Since when Windows put restrictions on Windows 11, it made it a little bit difficult to get things going in the right direction. But also to remember, if they lighten up on the restrictions and they come out with a future Windows 11 that doesn't require you to have all that extra restrictions, then, you know, your older PCs probably will run it. Now, I hear some people talking about a Windows Lite or whatever, but that's in another video. We can talk about this in another video, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into graphics card nightmares. And it is episode 34. So we're going to go to the action screen. And we're at the action screen. Let's go ahead and open things up. And I'll move everything up to the top screen. There we go. Oh, and just to let you all know, I did, and make sure you get your drink anyway. I did fix the internet issue, finding out it was the software drivers for the updates. They weren't working well, so I went back to the basic ones, the ones that first come with the system, and I put those back in. Everything works fine, runs like a champ. So just let you know that. Now moving on to this graphic card nightmare. We're going to go to Amazon. Amazon. Period. We're going to go ahead and look in Amazon. We're going to take and turn around. We're going to get everything all set up. Put that on computers. Graphics cards for gaming PCs. Okay, there's a reason behind that. You want to be able to look up the best of the best. I was putting graphics cards down and all these little old type ones were coming up. So let's hopefully this one comes up with some better ones. Okay, well, it couldn't get any better than that, I guess. So they got the 1030 for $99.99, $100. Nope. Look at this, the 580, 8 gigabyte. Why in the hell would you put a 2 gigabyte when you got an 8 gigabyte sitting here for $95, $4 cheaper than this? And look at that, limited deal. This is limited deal. So do remember, my videos are posted on the same day, so you're looking at the same day deals. So just to get you all riled up into it. Now they got the 3060 12 gigabyte for $279. You know, if you want to get that one, they got one for $289. They got one for $309. I wouldn't get this one because it's just, what are you getting it for? An extra fan? Come on. You're getting the same thing for an extra fan. They're all pretty much the same. So, look at this. $289 for 3 fans. That's not a bad deal there. You get a 60. Look at it this way. Okay. A 3060 and a 6600 are totally two different animals. Two different animals. Especially when the 3060 is faster than the 6600. So, and there's only $89 price difference, price to performance between the two. You're best off with the 3060 compared to the 6600. But the 6600 for $199 is not bad neither. Neither is the 5500 XT. That's not a bad deal. That's an 8 gigabyte card. Depends on the core count, and this is what you have to look at. If you look at the 5500 XT and you match it to the RX 580, you match the RX 580 to the RX 5500 XT and see what the pluses and minuses are. See which one's the best for the price. Because you got the 580 at $95, and you got the 5500 XT at $135. So, and they're both 8 core, and they're both if the 580 is GDR5, then obviously you made your choice by getting the 5500 XT for $135. So do remember, it's all into matching up and seeing which one's the best. And you can do all that with Tech Power Up, just typing in the name and typing in specs. Go to Tech Power Up, look at that one, then pull up another spec of the other one and look at the two and match the specs. Whichever one gives you the best, and that's the best one to go with, depending on if it's well worth the price to performance. So we're moving on. 580, I'm not going to even bother talking about that one. Or this one, just moving on. They got an EATX case. We're not talking about cases. They got right here, they got a 580 for $94.99. 3060, they got a 1050, which I'm not really going to talk about neither. They got a 1660 Super for $165. But the thing is this brand right here, this is a China brand. Okay, what they're doing is they're copying. And this is so funny. I've seen this brand so many times popping up on Amazon or Newegg and all them, and turn around. These brands are just copying what's already out there for $10 to $15 more. So do yourself a favor and don't waste your time in getting this brand here. I did already, just to test it out. It's in my other system. It's a 4 gigabyte card and it runs like crap. So I can vouch for what I'm saying, and I know what it does, and I wasted $100 for nothing. Absolutely nothing. That was $100 of waste. So moving on down the road. Oh, they got a OC white version right here, a 3060 for $369. Yeah, that's if you're looking for the white version. They got another white version right here. What's the difference? They're both 8 gigabytes. What's the difference? What's the difference between these two? They look like the same card, yo. Why would you put two of the same cards, one for $369, one for $279? Amazon, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. Really. $6.34 for the tough. You can get the dual for $5.99 on the 4070. I bought the 4070 at MSRP. I got mine at MSRP for $5.99. I'm well happy with it. It hasn't crapped out on me yet, so I can tell you the 4070 seems to be rocking. If I do remember right, the Asus Tough does come with the little RGB, and if I remember right, and it comes with an extra fan for, $35 extra. So it might be worth it to you to get it for extra $35. The 4070 Ti 12 gigabyte, it still to me isn't worth getting it. Truthfully, it's still, to me, the 4070 Ti is not worth it getting it. Not for 10-15% more performance than the 4070. Not for an extra couple $100. It's definitely not worth my time to buy that. I'll give you a little story on this. When I was doing my assessment between the 4070 Ti and the 4070, could you believe it or not, they both run the same GPU chipsets. Same exact ones. Only difference really is one's clocked up a little bit higher than the other one, but they both have the same 192-bit bus. They're both PCIe 4.0, X16. They both carry DLSS 3. They carry the same everything. The same everything. Okay? This is what's really got me puzzled. Okay? Now, if they carry the same everything, and the only difference is in the BIOS, if it's clocked up different than this one, there's a little shave to it. Yes, on the GPU die, there's a little bit of a shave, and they did make that, but it's still the same die. It's just shaved a little bit, but it's still the same die. So this means basically they shaved off 15-20%, and they sold you the 4070. So the 4070 Ti for an extra couple $100 is not really worth the extra couple $100 to get it. I'd rather get the 4070. That's mid-tier, right in the middle between the 4090 and the 4060 that will be coming out. It's right in the middle, mid-tier, 4070. I feel it still stands by itself because, for the simple fact, it doesn't operate like any other graphics card I have ever seen before or have had my hands on before. It operates totally different. It's basically, the power consumption. I mean, on the motherboard consumption and on the 8-pin connector consumption, I get between 150 and 200 watts on the 8-pin consumption. I get about 200, 210 on the motherboard consumption. And believe it or not, your motherboard can consume a lot of power if it wanted to. So overall, what I've seen this running at about 380, about 400 watts. Total package overall consumption about 380, 400 watts. About 380, 400 watts. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad. That's not drawing it up to 500 to 600 watts where it makes the case too hot. So I can see, I can't see buying the 4070 Ti, and I can't recommend it. I really can't. Let's go to the next page. I don't think we're going to be buying any of those anytime soon. 5600 XT, $159. That's not too bad because the 155 is not that far off in the price. So, you know, kind of look at it like that. They got the X Gamer ARGB right here, 623. They got the Galax GeForce RTX 4070 EX Gamer ARGB fans. If you're looking for, looking for ARGB, here you go. I mean, look at this is a good thing. Okay? Look at the 4060 Ti by Gigabytes, $430, right? Let's do the math a little bit here. Let's kind of drop this down a little bit. Let's look at the math here. Okay? So we do 624, right? For right here for the 4070, right? And we do 429 minus 429 or 430. So it's $194 between the 4060 Ti and the 4070. $194. Do you really think the performance is worth the $194 between the two? I mean, that's almost $200 in between these two. Just like the 4070, between the 4070 and the 4070 Ti, it's like almost $200 between those two. So, looking at it, it looks like that the 4070 itself looks like it stands in a league of its own, because the 4060 Ti and the 4070, there's almost a $200 price difference, and between the 4070 and the 4070 Ti, there's a $200 price difference. I mean, that's basically pushing the 4070 itself into a league of its own. You can get it between $599 and $624. If you want ARGB and an extra fan, if you don't, then you could probably get it for $599. I got mine without the RGB. Done deal. So, something to think about. It's good high hopes in the future for the RTX 4070. I want you all to make sure you look at that and think about that very carefully. Now they're selling the Titan RTX 24 gigabytes GDR6 for $1,700. That's just way overpriced. I mean, this right here, in the next 3 years, you're going to be seeing this down to quarter of the price in the next 3 years. So 6400, 64-bit, I wouldn't even recommend it. 3050, I don't care for it too much. 2060 Super, overpriced. Definitely a nightmare. This is definitely a nightmare. 2060 Super overpriced when you can get a 6600 for $199 and it's 8 gigabytes. Like I said, it's just getting ridiculously stupid on these prices. I mean, really. 8 gigabyte card here, $95. I mean, it's GDR5, but what can you do, right? A 4080, 16 gigabytes, $1,200. I mean, unless you're looking for something like that and you got deep pockets, then, that's all for you. But I can't see, there's like a $400 price difference between the 4070 Ti and the 4080. But as far as, between cores and performance and everything else, the 4080 is a bad choice. To me, it's a bad choice because for the simple fact that they should have had this down 200 less and made this down to 1,000, and then they should have made the 4090 down to at least 1,200. You know, they get stupid ridiculous with prices. I mean, really stupid ridiculous. I mean, who's going to pay $800 for a 4070 Ti when they're going to spend $400 more and go get a 4080, or just go get an RX 6950 XT for $630, $640, somewhere in between there. I mean, Strix OC version, $2,000, not worth it. Even $230 for a Super, a 1660 Super, really? Who's going to pay that? Who's going to pay that? When you can go get, again, the RX 6600 for $199. You know, nightmares after nightmares. 1650 right here. Again, 6600 will blow this out of the water any day. And that's $199 compared to $229. You know, you're looking for budget entry cards. Well, then you start looking at the price. What are you going to really buy? You know, it seems like everybody's choice right now is the RX 6600. You know, as a budget entry card. And I tend to agree with that. For $199 or cheaper, you can get them cheaper if you find them. So let's go ahead and go to Newegg. I don't really do much on Newegg anyway, because Newegg doesn't seem to have anything new as far as graphics cards. You know, to me. So let's go ahead and go to the first slot. I know everybody tends to disagree with me about Newegg. Newegg's supposed to be the shiz and everything else. But, you know, I hate to tell you this. I bought from Newegg one time. And I had nothing but headache after headache after headache. And I'm sure they got it sorted out now, but that kind of left a little bad taste in my mouth. Maybe someday, you know, if they can prove to me that, you know, they got things straight, then, you know, I could start doing more recommendations on them than doing Amazon recommendations, you know. I mean, neither one of them sponsored this channel, so I don't know what to say. I mean, it's nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. I mean, you go, if you're a consumer and you go to look for a graphics card, you don't know where to start. You're thinking, oh, this is my first system. Where am I going to start? The best way I learned to do it is if you either go big or go broke, one or the other. And it seems like you end up going broke before you go big when it comes to buying PC parts. Now, if you're looking to spend $1,000 on a system, the best way I'd tell you to do it, well, when we get to the end, I'll do this. I'll go to PC Part Picker and I'll pick out all the parts that I picked to build my system and show you guys what I have on mine after the price changes, because for the simple fact I got all my parts on sale. And do look for where it says save and sales. Make sure you watch the sales. That doesn't mean you're going to get the greatest, but it's going to mean you're going to get something. I mean, let's see, 580s, 5500s, 3080. Wow. They scratched off $903 for a 3080. Oh. See price in cart. Wow. They must have something going on for this. For the 3080, the version 2. Must be having something cooking there. Look at this. RX 6600. $199 right there. 6750 XT. $359. So you looking at about $159, $160 difference between the two. Which one's the better one? The 6750 XT. Which one's the priced out better? The 6600. You know, you can get the 3060 too, but the 3060, the 6700 is going to be faster than the 3060. But they got a 15-hour sale on it. Hopefully y'all can get in on it. It says get Resident Evil 4 with an AMD graphics card. Limited offer. So there's 3 offers there. Hopefully y'all can get to it before it expires. 3060 right here, $289. That's not really a big sale because over on Amazon, I think they got it for $279. Something to think about. You know, let's move forward. $599, they got the Ventus RTX 4070 for $599. I know y'all don't believe in Asus, and you know, well, I don't really, you know, seeing all the crap that's happening with Gigabyte and all the rest of them, I don't see, you know, anybody falling in favor for any kind of, you know, good thing that I can see happening. So, and looks like that Asus has got a sale going on. That ends 10/31 of this year. So it's a limited time offer. They had that at $1,200. I wonder what the prices are on that. But you won't know until you add it to the cart. So they got the 6650 for $259. $60 more if you're looking for the 6650 XT, which is a little bit faster than the 6600. So for $60 more, 3% uplift, I really can't see that. Not for $60 more, a 3% uplift. I really can't see it. I'm sorry. That's something I really can't see. Even better yet, 7980. There we go, 580. If you're looking for an RX 580, less than 80, about around $80. 3070, $499, save 9%. And they got a 3090, 24 gigabyte. They have it on sale, but they don't have a price on it until you put it in your cart. But it's $58 shipping from China. Wow. So you already know that's going to be a bad deal. So if you're thinking about shopping over in China, you better hold your phone for a moment. Because I can tell you, with all the battling going on with the U.S. and China, that trading is going to end sooner or later. So don't be caught up into looking for trading, you know, anytime soon with China. I done cut myself off from that fact. So anything that I get, it's going to be from the United States. Even if they buy it from China or whatever, they take the risk. I'm not going to take the risk. I'm going to buy here from the United States. But if we ever go into any kind of war with China, it's something you need to think about. You know, as far as getting your product, you know, really think about it. I mean, go with the seller that you can trust. That's my best bet to you. And if you can't get a seller that you can trust, then you're, guess what, you're SOL. So let's move on. I didn't want to make this a too long of a video, but we're going to move on. Just seeing a little bit of a pricing going on here. I don't see why that, this is why, one of the reason why I don't do anything with Newegg is because look at the price. That's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous price right there, because I got the same one for $5.99. It's just ridiculous to see these prices. So, moving on down the road before I get sick, with these ugly prices. I mean, they some ugly prices. Yep. I'm not even going to go to the second one. It's not even going to be worth it. Let's go ahead and just move ourselves right along. I'm just moving out of Newegg. Sorry, Newegg. You guys need to fix up your site a little bit. I'm not going to recommend to the subscribers. You got a couple things that are good in there. I mean, I only seen one or two, but the rest is just a complete nightmare to me. And if I know if it's a nightmare to me, it's going to be a nightmare to the subscribers and the consumers that are buying from you. Now, if you got something better cooking in the background, then you know where to find my email. You know to let me know, what you got cooking and everything else. Email me, you'll know, and we'll talk. So now we move into eBay. I always say e-waste for some reason. It must be catchy. It must be like a virus or something. It's catchy. You shop at eBay. See, I can't help it. Is that when they sell graphics card, at new prices, and they're getting bottom of the barrel when it comes to the graphics cards. Half of them are going into the garbage and getting graphics cards, cleaning them up with a little bit of alcohol and recoating them and putting them back on eBay. So basically they pick them out of a trash bin and basically they resell them on eBay, and they are e-waste. If they work or not, they got some that says, what was it? Not in working condition, or they try to sell you the box for $60. Why the hell are you going to sell me a box for $60 with nothing in it? I mean, again, nothing but a joke. There is going to be a time that they're going to grow up and be a big kid now, and they're going to start cracking down on their sites with all this non-technology that everybody's selling on it. Let's see, you can get that for brand new price. You can get that, probably you can get that close to brand new price. Free returns, free shipping, $389. That's still $400. I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, if you're looking for one, that's not too bad of a deal, I guess. We can go with that. $70, almost gone. Yeah, for a starter kit, that's not too bad. This right here is not too bad neither. 6600, 149. 3070, 8 gigabytes, 380. That comes back to going back to the 6600. 380 compared to 149. Think about the 6600 compared to the 3070. And you go back to the 149 instead of the 380. See the price difference. Only probably maybe 3 to 5% performance difference. Nothing really to sweat about. It's kind of use your common sense. You price it to performance. You take a look and you take the two cards, and this is if you're a first time builder, do this. Work them back to back. Check the tech specs on both cards back to back. What this one does and what that one does. Back to back. So this way you know which one is the better card. Usually the higher the numbers, the better. So if you're going to look for tech specs, let's do this real quick. Let's put up the RX 66. Let's do the RX 6600 specs, right? I'll show you what I do. Okay, so right here, Tech Power Up. Right here. 8 gigabyte version, GDDR6, 128-bit, right? Okay, now we'll separate this. Alright, we'll move this over. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll open up the RX 6650 XT specs. We're going to give you an idea. Okay, so pull it out of that menu. Move this over. Right? Now, there's your 6650. Now let's pull back up the 6600. Okay, now you can see the difference between the two. Okay, they're both Navi 23. One of them's got 1792 cores, and the other one's got 2048 cores. The other one's got 112 TMUs, and one's got 128 TMUs. One's got 64 ROPs, and the other one's got the same 64 ROPs. They're both 8 gigabyte cards. They both got GDDR6. They're both 128-bit. Okay, let's move on down the road. Okay, let's move on down the road. Okay, now, one's priced at $329 original MSRP, and the other one's $399 original MSRP. They're both PCIe 4.0 X8. Move on down the road. Let's keep going. Okay, now the difference is the clock speeds. You can see right here. Memory clock's at 17.5 on the 6650 XT compared to the 14 Gbps on the 6600. Now, you can see the difference right here, except for down at the bottom. It looks like it's all the same. From the cache all the way down is the exact same. Now, the 6600 has RT Core 28, and the 6650 XT's got 32 RT Core. Okay, the compute units are the same. Look at your theoretical performance, and you can see the difference between the two. Going side by side, you can see which one's going to be the better card. As far as what's going to give you the performance you need. One is 132 watts, and the other one's 176 watts. Okay, now they both do the same thing over here in the graphic features. So there's not much more to the cards that you can talk about, but I can tell you this. It looks like hands down the 6650 XT is the card to buy compared to the 6600. But, the difference between the two, if you look it up, let's go ahead and look up the amount of cores. Okay, now one's got 2048 cores, right? And you know what's so surprising? The RX 580 has the same amount of cores. Let's see if it comes up here. See, this is 6600. Doesn't come ahead. That's about the same, but yeah. So that gives you a look behind and in front. Okay. So the 5700 XT would be 7% higher, but that comes down to a better price than the 6600. So if you're looking for that, for 7% more performance with less cost, then you can get that. Or you look at the ARC A750, it says 8% higher. This is just relative performance, doesn't mean it's actual. I mean, even your 6650 XT is 22% more than the 6600. Now the 6600 XT is 19% more than the 6600. So if you were to look for the 6650 XT for 22% more on an average, I could see the 279, 269 price market. Would definitely fit into that price market. So yeah, just check your numbers. I mean, I don't even have to look at to know that right there. So that's just to give you an idea. Okay, just to give you an idea of where to look, if you're looking for price to performance. Now, I mean, $799C price. Yeah, they'll probably have that priced at $800. I mean, I don't need to see the price to know the price. 3070 Leak Tech WindFast AI blower. No, I would not pay that for that card. Sorry. Would not pay that for that. That looks like it's a knockoff, almost. So, 3080 for the win, 479, still a nightmare. 4090. And they want you to start the bid at $1,000. 4090. Would you bid $1,000 on a 4090 to start off with? You could, by adding 1 penny to it, and then get that card for $1,000. Nobody else pays that. They send you one for $1,000. That would be something. Don't quote me on it, and don't do it. Anytime somebody puts a price tag on the first bid, is usually meaning that they're wanting you to send them the money, but they don't have the card. So they can turn around and they can get $1,000 from you and close up shop and go and create a new site without anybody knowing it. So they can pull that $1,000 right out of your bank and not even send you the product. So that's a scam right there in itself. It just screams scam for me. That's just baiting and scamming. Seen people do that before. Heard a lot of rumors on it, to where they take and they'll say, okay, well, you bid this, and when it closes, whoever has the most wins. So the last person that bidded, guess what happens? They give them the money, and then they're waiting for the card. Then it goes past 30 days. Then it goes past 60 days. And then, the buyer, text eBay, say, hey, they never sent me the card, but they took my money. And then guess what happens? The site is no longer there. They turn around and deleted the whole site after they took your money. And then they just washed their hands of it and then opened up a new site. And now they're doing the same thing again. So that's people scamming for dollars out of your pocket. Don't fall into it. Unless I can talk to the seller to know that the seller is going to be upfront and 100%. That's the reason why I never recommend going to eBay. It is for the simple fact that I cannot trust anything that comes out of eBay. Ever. But all I can do is tell you, when you come on this site, you take a risk. eBay is supposed to support a 30-day money-back guarantee. If the seller says, okay, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So the only reason they don't like doing that is because that means, and I heard some about this, where they take and the buyer buys it from eBay. eBay holds the money for 30 days, and then after that they release it to the seller for some reason. It's probably because of the fact of that when the buyer buys something and it's crap and they send it back, they get their money in return. But, if the seller is not going to be honest and not give the money back, then I can see if eBay holds that money for the warranty time and then gives it to the seller. That's smart business, and that keeps eBay out of hot water if they do that. And if they do that, then they're guaranteeing the buyer that eBay's going to, reimburse whoever if something goes wrong with that product. So, that's smart business if they do it that way. If they don't, then they're actually screwing themselves, really. So, moving on down the road, we still got more to get through. Y'all understand how eBay works. You buy at your own risk, and that's as simple as that. And truthfully, I really don't see much happening on eBay right now. It looks like about the same prices as last week. I really don't see anything moving. Now, $220 their best offer, but look at the $21.05 shipping tag that added to that. Really? You're going to take and sell a card for $220 and then add a $21.05 shipping to it. The $21.05 means the shipping and the tax. So you're basically having the customer, the buyer, pay for the seller's taxes and shipping on their product. That's just a crooked shit. I'm sorry, that's crooked. If I sell something on eBay, the last thing I want to do is add an extra price tag to it to make the buyer not want to buy my product. If you're going to be honest and upfront, then you should just say to the buyer, look, the price is going to be $241.05. Non-negotiable. Then that's a different story. That's one big price. Now, if you're trying to add by putting shipping on there and making it look like, oh, well, I have to pay for shipping too, so you now have to pay for the shipping as well. So this means that the seller doesn't pay anything because the buyer's paying for everything. So they make the buyer pay for everything. So, to me, they need to be honest and upfront with the buyers that, the sellers are being dishonest. So, but anyway, enough of eBay. Let's move on to Micro Center, which hopefully one day they will become a sponsor of the JJ's PC Builds, family. So, as much advertisement as I do for them, it'd be kind of nice. So, I'm just saying. I mean, I go to their website every week. I bring y'all along with me. And we go to the graphics cards. And looks like they got the 4070 Ti for $839. It is no different than being on Amazon, truthfully, and getting the same price on Amazon. They're all running, in price wise, they're not running in competition with each other. They're all running the same price as each other. So none of them, this is the big mistake when you own a business and you don't run a little bit of a competition between you and your competitors to make it more affordable for the customers, to trick their eyes, to make them want to buy that product, then you're just beating your own drum and you're not getting anywhere. And that's basically what they're doing right now. If product's still sitting on the shelf and not moving, in order to move that product, you need to bump it down 10, 15, 20 bucks, take a 20 buck loss, kind of get the consumer excited again, and get them to come in and buy your products for cheaper than they can buy it online. That's the whole key 900% trick, is if you can get the consumer to buy from your store and not online, and you're keeping competitive prices, then they're going to come back to you because you're getting competitive prices. Not what's online, but to your store, because your prices are becoming more competitive compared to buying it at, let's say, Amazon or Newegg or, most of these distributor places. So they go to buy your product at your store is because your prices are competitive. But if they're not competitive, they're not going to buy from your store. So do keep that in mind. And Micro Center does have a lot of good stuff in their stores. So you might want to go check them out before you make the hasty decision and say to yourself, well, they ain't got nothing I want. I bet you they do. So you might want to check them out. They got a store in Tustin, California. And they got new stores coming out. I think they got one that come out in Indiana. So they got more stores coming out. So make sure you check their website. Look out and see what new stores they got coming out. We're looking at all their high-end. See, this is the thing. This is the one thing I like about Micro Center, is they took and turned around and put all their high-end stuff right into your face, right up front, and said, these are our best stuff. This is the best of the best. Now, if you go to Amazon or you go to Newegg, they don't do that. Not even eBay does that. They put all their low stuff in front of your face. That's the reason why I like Micro Center, is because they put all your high end into your face and say, this is what we got on high end. And then they move you down slowly in steps to the lower end. I would rather have them step me from the high end to the mid end, instead of going from the low crappy end all the way up to the mid end. That doesn't tell me anything about the newest product you got out there. That just tells me you just want to sell me more crap, more e-waste. That's what that tells me. So when these online companies start thinking like, they need to change something, that's the first thing they need to change. Is they need to put their high end in front, and then their mid end, and then their low tier. Okay? If people want the low tier, they're going to look for the low tier. But most of your people want to look at and gawk at the high end. They want to see, oh my God, that card would look so good in my PC, and just look at the card and look at it really hard and just stare at it for a whole 5 minutes. Now with your low end cards, they're just going around the list. Nope, 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 nope. Maybe. There might be one that they say maybe at. But you don't see them falling over themselves to go for a low tier end card. The high end tier, they will sit there for 5 to 10 minutes looking at it. And then what they'll do is they'll say to themselves, I'm going to start saving my money for that card. And that's what they do. So me, I think a little bit differently. If you go to the high end and then work your way to the mid and then work your way to the low, then you're getting the full picture of every little section of it. Because all your graphics cards always start from a cutoff from, guess what? Your high end. How many times that you heard reviewers say, well, they took the 4090 and now they cut the 4090 down to a 4080 in half. First cut down. And then they took the 4080, then they cut that down some more into the 4070. Then they took that and cut it some more down into the 4060. It starts a teardrop effect. Start from the top, see what's the difference between the 4090, 4080, what's between the 4080 to 4070 Ti, what's from the 4070 Ti to the 4070, from the 4070 to the 4060 Ti, and from the 4060 Ti to the 4060. Teardrop effect. Start at the top and work your way down to the bottom. So this way you can get a good idea of the percentages of how much it's costing to go from in between cards, okay, to go in between cards from the top down, and to see what tier you're at. See what tier you're at when you buy that card. Now the 4070 puts me at, you got the 4090's top tier. Your first tier is your 4080, your 4070 is your second tier, your 4070 Ti, and then your 4070. It looks like it's 4 tiers down. So, being the 4th tier is not too bad having the 4070. Depends on which one you buy. Now, if you buy the 4070 Asus Tough, then you got a good deal there. You got a good deal when you get the Asus Dual. That's at $599, and the other one is at $623, $624, $629, somewhere in between there. Okay, so there's like a $20 to $30 difference between the Tough and the Dual. But functionality wise, I still got that special little switch on the Dual. It's still considered an OC version. And I'll tell you, I've already posted videos, many videos on the 4070. So y'all can look at them videos and do your judgment and think from there. And you can look at the other videos that you see on other reviewers. Like, let's say if you want to look for a lower tier card, I don't have those videos yet because I don't have those cards in my hand. I can, talk to you about it and tell you my feelings about them. But as far as testing them, I haven't tested them yet. And I do apologize for that. But, until I have the card in my hand to test, I can't tell you how it's going to really function. I can give you my 2 cents on it. But as far as the functioning, unless you have the card in your hand, and any reviewer will tell you this, if you don't have the card in your hand, you can't give somebody a good assessment of how it actually works. So, but from my assessment, I can tell you how that card works. The RTX 4070. I can tell you how it works because I have it in my hands. I'm running it right now on my PC, so it's running great. So moving on down the road, we got more to go. We got about, we better get through this really quick. Just looking at through Micro Center and stuff like that. Depends on what your pocket is. If you can afford a high-end card, go for your high-end cards. And if you can't, then, basically go for your low-end. You just don't have to look at your high-end. There's plenty of cards you can buy from Micro Center. Make sure y'all go to their website, which I'm on. Go to microcenter.com. Look at all their stuff. You can, and then when you get ready to go into their store, make sure you have their webpage loaded up. And that way you can find where. And the coolest thing about Micro Center, I thought, is that you can pull their app up and it can tell you exactly where you are in the store. And also, too, if you're trying to find an item, you can punch in the item and it can give you a map to the item. That's what I thought was even cooler. When I heard that, I thought that was awesome. So, y'all make sure you check them out. This is not a sponsored ad, just to let you know. It's just what I feel, putting my shout out to Micro Center, going from there. Okay, now, since we got through the first line of graphics cards, we're going to go ahead and we're going to close this one. We're going to close this one. We're going to close this one. We're going to hit the home page on this one. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to PC Parts Picker. This is a bonus for y'all, just to let you know. This is a little bonus for y'all. Okay, now, when you're going to try to build a computer and you want to look at prices, hit the builder button right there. Okay, this gives you the map. This gives you the map of what you're looking for. Okay, now everybody says, start at the CPU. I say not. I say choose your motherboard first. And that's where I say always start with your motherboard, and I'm going to continue to say that. And let's see, we do the Strix B550-A. $159. Look at this. We add it to the cart. Look at that. $159. Now, believe it or not, that's about $75 more than what I paid for the B450. But the thing is $159 is not a bad deal, especially if you get it from Amazon and you buy it more than just the motherboard. You can get more discounts with Amazon. Just to let you know, you can get more discounts with Amazon. So now we'll go and choose the CPU. Now, I know everybody don't like the CPU that I got, but I hate to tell you this. You can get the 5600X for 148. You can get the 5800X for 208. You can get the 5600 for 129. You can get the 5800X3D for 289. That's not too bad. You can get the 5500 for 91. I would run, if I'm going to run a 5500, I would run that with the B450 motherboard. Don't get a B550 motherboard to run this. I mean, save yourself a little bit of money. I mean, now I'm going to put, I went and got the Ryzen 7 5700X. Okay, for 100. I didn't pay, and there's a promo code on it too. There's a $10 promo code. So it's 181 at Newegg. That's what they're saying. A $10 promo code, free shipping, 181 from Newegg. Okay. That's not too bad. I didn't pay that. I paid, with my discounts and everything, I got mine down to about maybe 147, somewhere in there. So mine was like cheaper than that. Okay, now let's go to the CPU cooler. Let's go to the CPU cooler just for say. You want to keep this like in a price range of, let's put $28, and it's refined really well. Always find a fan that's more than 1500 RPMs. Okay, always find a fan that's close to 3000 RPMs. You know, that's where my judgment pulls, is where, you know, you got a fan that pulls to 3000 RPMs. You know, like this one right here is a Thermalright Gravity A2 for $10. And it pulls 3500 RPMs. dBs are a little bit higher. Let me look down the road a little bit. Well, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, we'll add that for $10. So far, that's about $351. So let's choose the memory. Let's see, Corsair LPX 32 gigabytes. That's the 3600. That's 36. That's the 36. Well, we'll have to go to the 36. So we'll do the 36. Oh, wow. When you go buy the second set of RAM, it kind of seems like they upcharge you. Okay, so, well, what we can do is, we can add that. Huh. We can X that out. Add additional memory. See what I mean about shopping? You really got to take your time when it comes to shopping for what you need. So take your time. Don't rush. Okay. So we're at 486. So prices did go up. Let's see. Crucial P2. 1 terabyte P2. It's more expensive now than it was when I bought it, but that's fine. Let's see, additional storage. See, we got Seagate. Wow, you mean I got that for cheaper? Oh my goodness. This right here, this Exos X14 is not $380, just to let you know. I only paid $129 for it. So we're going to have to look for a price that's either cheaper than that. Let's see, let's go to 12. Just to give you an idea. Let's say I got 12. That'll get me close to the 14 terabyte. So, okay, so video card. See, 4070 Asus 4070. Asus Dual 4070. Right here. But it's $599, not $609. Wow. So the card that I got right here oh, it's not white. Never mind. Okay. So case, power supply, operating system, and monitor I already had. Now, if you were to go buy my system, I didn't pay that. So I paid like $998 when I got mine. So the savings I got when I built it, let's say $1340. Let's say $1341 minus $998. I saved $343 when I bought my system. Okay. Now my system took 8 months to get it to where it is now. So, but you got to remember, not including the case, not including the power supply, not including the fans, extra fans I had to put in and everything else. So, you know, let's say if I go to let's say choose a case and bring it down to $50. Something that's close to it. We can add that in. Okay, power supply. We'll just say this one right here. We'll just add that in. Operating system, you really don't have to put that in there, but you can if you want to. You know, can always add that in there too. You know, your monitor, you know. Can always say that right there. So overall, if you were to look at the now, let's just add another storage on. Okay, this will be for the price of the fans. That'll be for the price of the fans. So, if you were looking to start from bottom to top, that's basically the price you're looking at right there. So, you're looking at a total of $1,700.58, say $1,700.59, or $1,759. Okay. If you can get $700 knocked off, $758 knocked off of the initial price, and make it down to $1,000, then you know that's one thing. But you're looking at what a low-end PC would have cost compared to a medium-end PC. Okay, 8 months down the road, you take your time on your parts and you watch what you get with your parts. I mean, this is just an idea to give you an idea of what you're going to be looking at when it comes to as far as, you know, you wanting to buy a PC for you to build on your own. Now, truthfully, it's not hard to build a PC. What makes it the hardest is just the operating system and putting all the drivers in and everything else. If you pick your own parts, make sure you pick wisely, and always see if there's something that's equivalent or greater at a lower price. Trick, how to buy things. Equivalent or greater at a lower price will get you further ahead on your PC. Now, performance-wise on my PC. Performance-wise, it rocks. I mean, I have no complaint about it. I had Well, I'll say this. There's a couple complaints that I had on it, but I have resolved them. I did figure a resolution to it, and the PC runs great. I don't have any problems, and everything's running good. So that's what matters to me the most, is how well it's running, and if it's giving me the performance I want, which it is, then I'm happy. Okay? You as a consumer want to be happy when you build a PC and it runs just the way you want it to, and after you fine tune the little bits of here and there and everywhere, you get it down to the thing is where you want it to be. Okay, look, I had to fine tune the processor. Okay, I felt the processor was going up a little too high on temperature, and it was staying up at too high of degree of temperature. So I went into the BIOS, set everything on auto, turned on rebar. Okay, went into the PBO to curve optimizer, set it at a -20. System runs fine. Went into, for the discrete RAM, went in there and manually set that in. Did not use DOHCP, or whatever you want to call it. Did not use the overclocking for your RAM. I manually set mine to 3200 megahertz and the Fabric Infinity to 1600 megahertz. Perfect. Now, with the clocks on the processor, I have left it on auto. So it goes, when it sits idle, it sits at 3400 megahertz on idle. And when I'm using it, it goes up to 4650, the max of the processor. Every time I use it, goes up to 4650. But when I'm not using it, it sits right at 3400. Does exactly what I want it to do. And nothing else. I have nothing else overclocked. Processor runs just as it is. Little minor tweaking in the BIOS. I took out, and I tried Asus Armory Crate. I'm sorry, Asus, it wasn't working for me. So I pulled out the Armory Crate, took everything out. I've only left the Asus, the 3-suite, the 3-suite program they had, and the Game First 6 program they had. Everything else, it went on to a bye-bye. As far as nvidia, I put their GeForce Experience in, which that doesn't make sense to me, and their main programming, the little icon that goes on the front of the desktop on the taskbar, that's there for the programming, and the driver sequences are all loaded in. Which I got a problem with the GeForce Experience there, NVIDIA. It doesn't do the driver updates so well. I had a driver update that was sent to my phone saying there's an update for you, but the GeForce Experience did not update me on the update. Usually that happens when you take and you discontinue. And I noticed this about NVIDIA. When they go and get ready to discontinue a video card, they stop the driver's sequence for that update at a certain update, and that's it. They don't say, you don't get any more updates. So, NVIDIA, fix your stuff. You're preaching to the choir, to everybody, you got the best of the best, but you can't even get your GeForce experience up to date. It's a freaking shame when you got to pay. When I paid $600 for a graphics card, I sure in the hell want to be updated correctly. Not going into your website to find out you have an update for me. It's ridiculous. Very ridiculous. I'm not blaming ASUS for this. This is NVIDIA. This is your stuff. When it comes to the software, that's all you. When it's got your name on it, that's all you. That's not ASUS's problem. That's your problem. Do understand this. And the problem I have right now is your GeForce experience coming off of your website cannot even update, your app on my computer. Can't even tell me. And even when I press the update button, it says my computer's up to date. You got a bug in there. You need to fix it. You need to work quickly on that before everybody figures out you got an updated driver waiting on everybody and they don't know it. Do understand that. Okay? There is an updated driver for the NVIDIA graphics card, the 40 series graphics cards, and whatever else they got to pull in there. So make sure y'all go look for it. If you need to know it, let me know in the comments. I'll make sure I get you the link to it. NVIDIA needs to get up on their stuff. Because my computer is now updated to the most recent graphics card drivers that you have. Before I started this video. And that was yesterday. I updated the drivers yesterday. So today is today. Now is now. And it's 9:13 in the morning. By the time y'all are going to get this, it'll probably be around noontime anyway. So do remember, this is going to be like a longer. This is going to be like an hour and 40 minutes long. It's going to be like 2 videos in one. So make sure you get your popcorn and your soda ready for this. But anyway, I'm not going to make this any longer. We already got some length on it. So if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to work towards 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. What I mean by 4,000 watch hours, watch the videos from beginning to end would be much appreciated. Would help us grow. Also, too, make sure you tell your family, your friends, your uncles, aunts, cousins, and all that. Come on down and subscribe to the JJ's PC Build family. But you all have a fine day, fine morning, wherever the case is. Stay out of trouble, be safe, and don't get into any mischief. This is JJ and JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next video.